Craig, another question. This is yeah. Sometimes the questions come in and they're like little like bing, and they're like little things, easily understood, easily answered. And other times it's like thud, and it's like this is I gotta peer through this and move it. So this one might be kind of long. I mean, you can always look at the how much time it is. How do you know when it's time to make changes? The easy answer is when the way things are going are not. They've got your trousers have gotten too damn tight. Basically, they were tight before, and you were going through them, and you were walking around in the world with your tight trousers, and they were painful, but they weren't too painful. But there comes a time where that level of pain, whatever that means to you, that level of pain gets to be an unacceptable level. And it's going to be different for everybody. Not only the level of pain, but how the pain is defined. That's one metric for deciding when you want to change something, when it becomes too painful. Now you can look out there, people with addictions, certain types of politicians, whatever, and you can look at somebody and say, Jesus, that looks like a ton of pain. Why don't they change? Because for them, it hasn't gotten to a high enough level. They may not be interpreting the thing that you're looking at and saying that's incredibly painful. They may not be interpreting that as pain. Okay? So it's how you define it. Now, granted, you may have a loved one or a person in a relationship that's beating you with some sort of motivational crowbar. I'm going to leave you. I'm cutting you out of the will. I'm calling Child Protective Services. You're going to get fired. There are all kinds of motivational crowbars that people can beat you with that can have you say, oh, it's time for change. And people do change because of that. It's tough, though. That's not particularly the dance I want to engage with. That somebody's coming to me and saying, oh, I have a court-ordered, mandate to do this, whatever the court might be. And if I don't change, they're going to do something really horrible to me that I don't want them to do. It's doable. It's a lot tougher. So from inside yourself, how do you know when you want to change? When the pain level becomes intolerable to you, when things aren't happening. The other motivational factor is because this is going to be difficult. I don't want this to be anymore. I don't like what this is happening. There's no pain there's no pain to such a level to where you're like changing to get away from the pain. It might be small, it might be narrow. It could be as simple as, you're not going to ever, what do they call that? The squirrel suits, the flying squirrel suits. People leap off of cliffs and they fly around while falling, gliding, I guess. I don't think it's technically flying, but yeah. There's no way in the world that you want to do that. But your friend says, hey, can you at least drive me up to the top of the mountain? You drive me up to the top of the mountain, watch me take off, and then you drive down and pick me up at the bottom. I mean, that's what a friend would do that, right? And so you're like, okay, fine. And you go up there and you drive up to the mountain and you watch him put on the suit thinking that he's a suicidal maniac. And there's a bunch of other people and they're having fun and they're blah, 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 blah. And you're like, Jesus, they're not idiots. They seem to be having fun. But no, they're suicidal. They get in their line off and you watch your friend, put on his helmet, put on his little camcorder. Woo! You're like, Jesus. And you say, okay, fine, I'm going to go down and get him. And you get down to the bottom of the mountain, you're a little bit late, and they're all sitting around. They're all higher than bodhisattvas or whatever it is. They're just, and they're, they have their little camcorders hooked up to the little laptop, and they're showing you this stuff, and you're like, wow, that really looks cool. And you're like, nobody died, and how many people died? Well, less people died than driving cars, given the, And so all of a sudden, something opens up for you, and you're like, "Oh, I want to change." You're not changing because of pain. You're in dojo land. You're being changed because of a carrot. that there's something out there that you would like to have, that you believe that if you engage in this sport called no, it's not called squirrel jumping, okay, whatever it's called, okay, that you're going to engage in this sport, you believe that you're going to get certain things that to you are a carrot, camaraderie, excitement, taking on your life, whatever it is, okay? So that's another way of changing things. So you have the people hitting you with crowbars, motivational crowbars. Then you have the pain I want to get away from. And then there's this other way of a carrot. What is it? I believe that if I engage in this, becoming this new thing, that I will get something that I can't presently have. And it can be a mix of all three. It can totally be a mix of all three. Is there any time that you should change? No, absolutely not. There are plenty of people that are in what I would think are very narrow, very defined boxes. Monastic people, certain religious places, like, if you're a monastic Buddhist monk who spends all of your time in a cave meditating, to me, in one way, that's an insanely narrow band. And they're fine with that. That's their life. This is not, you are not, this is your life. And from a dojo point of view, you can have whatever life you want to have. And one life is not inherently better than any other life. One style of life will get you these kind of results, generally speaking, and another style of life will get you another set. So it's all fine. So primarily, fundamentally, change because you want to change. That's the simplest, pithiest, Zen koan-y kind of thing. Change because you want to change. Okay. Okay, this is Craig Gramont signing off, and we'll be back very shortly with another one. I got a list of questions this weekend. So keep them coming. Love the shit.